Hello guys, Cruisella here, I hope you're all well. So today you join me in some low tier Japanese tank action. First up is the Type 2 KMI, the Japanese amphibious tank. Well, it would be if we had the pontoons on it. Unfortunately, without the pontoons, this thing does not technically float in game. Although, I do scratch my head a little bit at that, because it still would be watertight and still would have some form of flotation to it. So, although it wouldn't be as buoyant, I don't imagine it would sink like a stone like it does in the game, unfortunately. Anyway, I've been playing these low tier tanks again just to really see much has changed in low tier battles for Japan. And today, we're really going to see, because it's Japan versus Russia and America at tier 1.3, I think, around about 1.2, 1.3, around that tier. So very low tier match. So you're pretty much only against reserves and very, very low end tanks, thankfully. So what can I say about the KMI? It was designed to go after the Hago Type 95. It was designed as a replacement. Around about 180 of these vehicles were built. They weren't very successful. If you've ever played one, you probably wouldn't be too surprised. But one thing this tank does have is a really good little round. You have the choice of the Type 1 APHE, which has the same penetration as the standard one that you get with the tank. Same sort of explosives, but it's a smaller round, basically. Which means it's got a higher velocity, so you've got a much smaller aiming reticle, which really helps. It's actually quite a good little tank in that respect. If it wasn't for the god-awful armour and the god-awful placement of the crew, this tank could actually be quite a good little low-tier tank. As I say, it could be. It's not. I really think it should have pontoons added onto it for some more armour, basically. Just to give it something of a bit of an advantage, because this thing is so poorly armoured. You've got around about 12 mil of armour all the way around, so anything can penetrate you. Now, you do get some bounces on this because it's so flat. Sometimes when you're at very high angles, you do get a few really random bounces and think, wow, okay, don't know how I survived that. But the majority of the time this thing, it's just you die very quickly, and generally to anti-aircraft vehicles. So I'm trying to take that one out up there, because I want to take that out of the game as soon as possible. Bluff that shot. Now this game honestly really isn't that much about the KMI. As you can probably see, we're getting our asses handed to us at the moment. We're really getting a jolly good thrashing, and it's not going well. There we go, we get a shot on a BT-5 there. Unfortunately it was just an AI. Oh no, that was a real one, sorry, that was the player. And I'm keeping an eye up there. I think it's a dead one, but I just wanted to double check, because sometimes a lot of players pretend to be AI in this match, and it's a good way of getting kills, basically. So I've got a kill already in this, which is quite good. As I say, the one good thing about this tank is actually its gun. It's surprisingly a really good little gun, and that's something. That's something to be said about it. It's a very good little gun. So you can actually do some really good damage with it. It penetrates pretty much most things, and it's very accurate, which is what you want. So it's not all doom and gloom. Another interesting thing about this tank is it's the only known tank to be engaged in a naval combat role with the American LVTs, the American LVCAs, and yeah, it actually had naval combat. So something pretty different about it, really. Now, as you see, I've been flanked here by 2 other tanks, and I'm still thinking that one of them's an AI, so I'm not really paying much attention. Unfortunately, I come out, and that BC5's about to punish me. There we go. The turret traverse on this is god-awful as well. So, as you see there, I take a few shots from that BT5. Not going to last much longer here, but you can take a few shots because you're so well spaced out. But with only 4 crew members, it's not like the LVTA, where you have a million crew members in a tank the size of a small country. You have a relatively small tank with no armour and no luck. So we're pretty much overrun at this stage, and we're in deep, deep trouble. So I switched to the Type 98 K-knee, and I notice up on the hill 2 guys going to flank us, starting their spawn camping. Fire 1, actually bounce a shot off him. Fire 2, straight through the engine. Fire 3, gunner's taken out. Fire 4, take out the driver. And finally taken out. Now that was quite a lot of shots considering the amount of explosives in these rounds. With the size of the small tanks, you know, you'd think that you wouldn't need that many to sort of kill the whole crew to turn them into a mush. So I decided to come up this hill and try and flank that other guy, because obviously they're not communicating, because if they were, they would have turned around on me. At this stage, we're still not doing great. As you can see, we've had a lot more deaths than they have, and they've killed a lot more tanks than we have. I'm the only player yet to kill any tanks on my team. They've got 3 kills. And I think we just lost a second person there completely, so they're out of spawn points. So we're down 2 people to 7. So we're outnumbered here, outmatched and outclassed. Much better tanks, much better firepower. The only advantage we have really is the fact that they use solid shot, we have explosive shot, which really is the only saving grace of the Japanese tanks. They're capping A, well, they're about to start capping A, so I need to start getting into a position to try and stop them. So I know that there's the M3A1 there. Line up, fire a shot in, take out most of his crew, second shot takes the rest out. Now the fun begins. I'm up on the top of the hill, in a sniping spot, with lots and lots of enemy tanks to hit. Hit him, do nothing. Second shot takes out the gunner. Third shot misses. Try and get that 4th shot, and 4th shot takes out the rest of the crew. Okay, doing well. A little bit concerned about my flank, my left flank there, but I'm sort of moving up. We got tanks moving in onto the area. Spotted somebody down there, but looks like they're dead, so that's okay, nothing to worry about. Now, out of all the low-tier Japanese tanks, the Type 98 K-knee is actually probably my favourite. Probably the best tank I've found so far. It's got a fantastic gun. The armour's terrible, but that's what we expect with all of these tanks. So I'm trying to line up a shot on this guy. I just don't have the elevation at that point. to get to him. I have to move down the hill a little bit. But I'm going to use his friend as cover. So hopefully they look up here and they think it's one of theirs. Good shot on the turret, take out his gunner, injure his loader. Second round takes out the rest of the crew. That stopped them capping at least. Okay. So I need to keep an eye on that spot, on A basically. And luckily we're now starting to get the advantage back. Not much, but we're getting some advantage back. We have 3 players. They have 6, so 2-to-1 odds on us. But I have an advantage of a really good spot up here, which they're not expecting. One of their planes has crashed. One of their planes crashed, so I think that was him taken out of the game as well, so that's good news. So a little bit less now. So I'm just trying to keep up here, just keeping A covered for the rest of my guys. But I'm also concerned that somebody's going to creep up behind me. So I'm just sort of in that sort of eerie stage of, well, what do I do now? What do I do? How am I going to do this? Spot the M3 there. Try and get a good spot on him. First shot, take out his optics, nothing. He moves back thankfully. Second shot, take out his gunner and his loader. Third shot, take out the rest of the crew. Okay, that went well. Alrighty. So that's another one deleted from the game. Unfortunately, he still has enough spawn points. So I'm moving up here again just to get some good altitude basically, and just allow me to have a good vantage over the battlefield. Spot that BT5 coming in. We're actually using a lot of communications now. The team is actually working together really well, which is something that's nice to have. So I'm going to keep an eye on A. There's not really much I can do here for that high go. So I'm trying to my best to get in a position to sort of help him out. And, yeah, but luckily the Hargo took out that BT5. So we've cleared them from our spawn. Well, our spawn and also our cap circle. They still have 5 players. No, they're down to 4. We have 3, so it's 3 on 4 now, so it's starting to look a little bit better. I've got 6 kills, the other guy's got 2, and one of our friends got 1. So 9 kills in total. The enemy team have managed to have 5 kills in total on us. So they're not doing all that too good now. At the beginning they started out really strong, but it's really starting to backfire on them now, and things are not going their way. So one of the things I like about this tank is it's got again a very good gun. It's got a 37mm gun on it, but it's a very accurate little gun, and it's a very easy gun to aim, so that really helps out. The armour is abysmal on it, as I said, but it's got a relatively good engine. You've got 130 horsepower with a what was the weight of this thing? Can't even remember the weight of it at the moment. It's a very low weight though, because it has bugger all armour, as I said. So you're very small tank, very lightly armoured, and you've also got a very good gun, which is the making of a good tank. So this is also the chassis that the Taku Sensei is based off of, the 98 Tassei, which is the anti-aircraft gun that we have at, I think it's, I can't remember the rank now, it's at one of the lower ranks though. So this is the chassis that it's based off though, and the engine it's based off of. So I see some firing in. We've got a Hargo going into the cap now as well, which is good, and these guys have also built up enough spawn points so that they can respawn, which is good news. Luckily one other's been taken out, so we're now 3 on 3. We're now on even terms, even footing. So I'm just having a look around again, just trying to spot any targets. keeping an eye out really for anybody around, and also trying to keep my friend in A alive as long as possible, because we need to cap that zone to win this game. Now there's an M3A1 coming in down low, which one of my friends called out to me, and then finally I actually spot him as well, and he's going up to kill the Chai-Hai. Sorry. So, get in position, just enough elevation, trying to get in position, take the shot, straight down through his turret. He reverses, straight down through the turret, through the back of the engine compartment. 3 shots, still not dead. 4th shot, still not dead. And I'm going to have to move. So I've taken out his loader, I think. So I've got to be careful here because he could well kill me. Luckily he fluffs that shot. So I'm trying to get into position, but this thing has terrible turret turrets. So I try and get to position, and he's going to start running. So I fire a shot off, and he's running away from me. So I get him to aiming, fire, and his track blocks the shot. One more off, and he bounces it. Yes. The M4A1 bounced. What would that be? At least 50 millimeters of penetration. Pretty badly angled. So he's in a position now to basically get me, but luckily I know his gun is out and his loader is out. So he's not even looking at me, and he's an easy kill. So a little bit of seal clubbery there, because he must have been a noob. There is no way that he would have had sort of much experience, I don't think. Poor guy. And he has got some vehicles left, so let's see how much battles this guy's got. So level 6, yes, so he's not very experienced. So, you know, he's panicked and gone for cover and tried to repair the damage, and sort of hoping that I wouldn't find him. Maybe next time he'll try and turn and fight and use his machine gun on me, which would probably kill me in all actuality, because, as I said, the armor on these things, you can generally get blasted by 50 cals, even 7.73s. So I'm a little bit wary, just because I didn't look at the scores at this stage of the game, and also I don't want any AI tanks to shoot at me either, because they can actually completely schwack me. So the funny thing is in these tanks is you can get killed by AI, and that's never a fun thing to have happen. So I'm trying to get up to B to help the Hargo, while keeping an eye out as I'm going along. Now I decided to go a little bit of a risky way here, and as you see, the tank is terrible. So the Hargo's been destroyed in B, unfortunately, so I know he's in B at least. But luckily the guy that was in B has got enough spawn points, so we're now on a 3-on-1 advantage. The 2 people on my team now are actually going in planes. So I'm the lone tank on the battlefield. So they're going in planes to try and spot. I know he's going to be in B, but I just want to try and take out some of these AIs, just so I don't get hit, and just so I can make it through a little bit, and hopefully also not get hit by any of them, which will basically show my location. So I did get hit by one of those AIs a second ago, and of course that's pinged me on the map, so he now knows my position. So again, I'm just really being extra cautious here. Now I see his shots going out towards some of the other AIs, so he's obviously shooting at AI just to sort of keep himself covered, just unsure where I'm at as well. So that looks like a good sign, because he's obviously missed the ping on the map. So we've got 2 planes coming in now, swooping in on him. I can't actually watch him, unfortunately. But these 2 planes see where he is and are diving on him and attacking him, so I can see where he is on the map. So I know he's just around the corner here, keeping my gun aimed, flies around the corner, doesn't notice me, and boom, he's done for. And that was my 8th kill of the game, which wasn't bad all in all. Came second all in all because of I didn't cap any zones, so I didn't do any zone capping. But all in all, a pretty damn good game, and a good comeback as well. Pretty good damn comeback, if you say. Considering at one stage we were 7 on 3, yeah, I think we can be proud of that victory. And also proud of winning in a purely Japanese low-tier match against the Americans and Russians. So, just to show you the tanks, the Kaimei is pretty much a box. Now, with the flotation devices on it, it has a flotation device that sits here, like a sort of triangle that has a 2 separate holes to it, with a few different spots in it so it doesn't sort of burst. And then it has one that sits over the rear here, again just to help it float. As I said, there was actually a naval battle between these 2 tanks with the LVTAs. So it's the only tank-to-tank naval combat known to be in history. The Kini, Type 98, is a much more advanced looking tank with its rounded edges, but the armour is still very, very thin. Your thickest armour is around about 16mm. So yeah, you're not going to get much saving. Now you do have that sort of angled part here with around about 30 to 40mm of protection. So if you get shot here, if you're sort of slightly angled, you've got a chance. But with the gun depression, it's very hard to sort of be in that position. And also the rest of the tank is an open target. So if anyone was shooting at you, they would generally shoot for the turret anyway. The turret is laughably thin, and so is the rest of the armour. Pretty much all of this will get penetrated by machine gun fire. Sort of even let's see what the Tesseract. Don't think the machine guns on these can penetrate it. No, they can. So even the terrible 7.9mm machine guns on the Tesseract, which are BSA machine guns, can penetrate these. So yeah, so pretty much any tank can penetrate you in that tank. And also, of course, the good thing is, though, is with your gun you can generally penetrate most other tanks. As I said, in those matches, the most scary thing you're going to come up against is probably the T-26, the BT-7. The BT-7 is probably probably the hardest tank of them all, just because it does have some seriously good little sloped armour in these spots. So it can sort of sometimes really sort of be quite trolly when you're shooting at it, because sometimes you'll shoot and you'll sort of hit sort of front on, but you'll hit some of these spots and you won't penetrate. But as long as you hit in a good spot, you'll generally take BT-7 out in one go, because the crew is so compact. The Americans can be a different story, of course, especially if in the LVTs. The LVTs are so overpowered at the moment in the lower tier matches just because they've got so much space into them. The M24As are probably the most numerous tank you see on the battlefield, and as you saw in the video, they're some of the hardest to actually kill, just because they've got relatively good armor when they're sort of angled at the right spot. You know, you can actually sort of, when you're firing front on, they're quite hard to penetrate through the turret. This is your main area you want to shoot at, but even as you saw, I shot at the side and I managed to bounce. You know, they're probably the heaviest armored tanks you're going to come up against if you're at that low BR rating. So these things are deadly, and also with the amount of machine guns they've got on them, they're also really, really effective, because the machine gun has 10 mils of penetration, sort of 10 meters, you know, 9 millimeters penetration overall, but that's still enough to cause problems for the Japanese tanks. Sometimes, you know, you sort of get unlucky and you will get penetrated by them. So, as I say, it's worth blasting with a machine gun because you will sometimes get lucky and chew through the armor, but it will also cause panic, especially if they're aiming for this hatch here, the commander's hatch, which is quite a big opening. It's going to penetrate in this section at some angles as well. The machine guns, even the lowest machine guns, are going to penetrate through this section here. And if we look through the X-ray, that's going to take out your driver and also possibly your commander too. And once that's done, you're doomed because you've only got a crew of 3. Because everybody's so combined as well, any shell that penetrates generally is going to kill you as well. The good thing is the ammo is so small, it's a hard target to hit, so you don't generally get ammo racked much, but your crew do tend to die. And again, with Kaimei, although you have 4 crew members in this one, they're still very grouped together. So one explosive blast in this general vicinity will take out all crew members. A solid shot front on here will take out 2, and then a solid shot through the left will take out the other 2. So yeah, it's just very tricky at low tier with Japanese tanks, but it is worth progressing because once you do get to the later tanks, you do have a you do actually have a lot better games, and they are much better as well. So as you see, the server's gone down just as I've been talking. So I hope you found this video interesting, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, the usual things, and I will see you again shortly. This is Screezilla out. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.